Hello, my name is James Lopez, and this is the last email project for the how to maintain your Gmails and delete it. And this program is going to be deleting them based on conditions. Now, the other one that I wrote, that's part of the video set, it just deletes them based on a date parameter. So, regardless of what emails you have, the other program, will delete them if you set it at 30 days or 40 days or 60 days. And it's identical, so it'll be um, this code right here where I set it to 30 days. The other program just uses this. It doesn't go into any the conditions that I'm going to show you here in a minute. And this is the condition part is I designed this first for my Outlook because it's a lot easier to manage the Outlook, and I have Outlook on my computer. So what I did was I have my Gmail in my Outlook, so I just manage it all through my Outlook. I don't go to Gmail other than to maybe delete some stuff once it's I go over the program. I'll go in there every now and then, but it manages it all through Outlook, and it's real easy. But you have some people that don't have Outlook, so this is how you manage it through Gmail. So let me go through it, and this will be similar to the other one, also my Outlook. So it'll be repetition, but anyway, let's just go ahead and run it. This is just the information on the program, what it does with the conditions. These are the four conditions. Again, first condition is if it doesn't have a return email address, and I had some, I don't have one anymore. But if you don't delete them first, the program will bomb out. It'll just error out. So that's the first condition. It'll see if it's blank, and you'll see it down here. Second condition is these are the emails I want to keep, and the the email text files that I create, which is the emails to keep and the emails to keep for 30 days. Those were created when I did, the first program and how you first set it up. And I'm gonna write a little document that'll put the steps on there. How do you get to this part? But I use that to create those text files, and those are the text files that I use to look for to see whether or not I need to keep it on that. So I go in there, I get it, I look at this email, is it in there? Yes or no? Okay. Is it in this one? Yes or no? Okay. And then at the end, so this one will keep emails that are newer or equal, and it'll delete the ones that are older. So the date file here is real important when you set that. So this right here is real important. So you want to make sure you can keep track of that. And then at the very end, it just, if it's not in any of the files, it's just junk mail. Since I did it in Outlook, it just puts it in a trash file, and then I'll go ahead and just look at it, and then I purge them. I don't purge because if you purge them during this, you might want to look at it. And so every now and then I'll go back and I'll create a new text files here. I'll add to it. I'll append, and delete, if I don't get any emails from them anymore. So anyway, these are the modules right here. I commented this one out because it has some stuff in there that I didn't need, and I just left it like this. So you can delete that. It doesn't matter. This is here. This is the date stamp. This is important. These two are identical. The reason why I went ahead and I created, I had an error, so it didn't like the extra date time, just one. So I said, okay, I'll just leave it there just in case. This is the path to where I got all the programs and text files that was related to this project. Backslash text files, straightforward. These are the files that I use to reference whenever I start running the program. emails to keep, and emails to keep for 30 days. The current date, so I'm setting the end date here. So I hit current date, and then this uses the current date minus 30 to come up with the end date here, the variable. This is a deleted text file. I'm creating a deleted text files to show, and I'll show you what I do with that text file here in a minute. Send myself an email, but anyway, I'll discuss that in more detail. But right here is where I create that text file, and it'll create it if it doesn't exist, or truncate it if it does. And usually, and since it's a new string, the reason why I do that is because I might run it several times, so I need to have it at the new string. In other words, if I ran it yesterday, this will be a new one, so it'll just create a new one. But if I'm debugging and I'm using the same one with the date stamp here, it'll just truncate, right? So I just leave it on. These are my counters. I use those for the end, and I'll show you that. This is the Gmail, right? The username and password, straightforward. You got to put that in there. Now the password again, if it needs to be encrypted, you'd have to run that process on your computer to create an encrypted password. And there's examples on that. You know, I had an error, and I'm like, okay. So what happened was, I had to create it. Once I created it on my computer and joined and then referenced it to my Python programs, then I was able to run it. So this right here is going to be, I had to create that to do my totals on the counter that I created. What was happening, I was running it, and I didn't know where I was at. So what this does, it gives me a total of all of the emails in all of these folders and subfolders in Gmail. So I looked at it, and I've seen what was in there, and I'm like, okay, it's not that many. But this total will allow me, since it's going through it, it'll give me a counter. And I'm using a different connection here, and then I'm logging out. So total. Whereas this one I'm using just object, which I'm opening up again. And this is the one I use to go through the emails right here. That's where I go. So first it hits the folders, which is D's right here, which is the same over here. Anyway, I go through the folders and one by one. And this is the business part of how it goes through. So this is all set. And, you know, I had to write this because I had to check for blanks. So I said, okay, well, let me do that. You know, as you run it, you'll run into some errors. So you don't have to figure it out. It's all done. So just take this program and it runs. So anyway, checks for blanks if I'm good. Now this one I had to write. I had this kind of hard coded, and one of the problems was when I went to, and I didn't get this problem with Outlook, but one of the problems was I went in there and my date stamp weren't coming out right because they weren't in the right position, and depending on what it was, it wasn't grabbing it. So what I had to do was I had to you can print this information. You can see where it's at right here. You can print that and you can see the format. And one thing that I found out, that all of them had this identical, but they were in different spots. So depending on where it's at, I had to point to it. So that this whole thing here does that, which is a little bit involved, but it works. And I don't have problems with my date. So that's what it is. So what I do is I catch that, and you can see where I'm going. So you got the month, the day is to the left, right? The year is to the right, and the minutes, seconds, hours, minutes, and seconds was to the right of that. So If this was 10, position 10, then day was position 9, year was position 11, and I was missing the second was position 12. So that's what that is. And then I went down and I grabbed it and I put it together. Okay, this is for the date function, but what was happening was when I was pulling the information from the text, the email, I had to write this because I had to put a 0 in front of the numbers, because on my current date up here, when I was doing the current date here, it's giving it to me as year 4 characters, the month 2 characters, and the date 2 characters. So here on the day, it was only giving me 1. So now I had to convert it to 2. So that's all done. So, okay, so another thing was to get the sender's email, in other words, the email address, which was another difference from when I get it from Outlook. What was happening is that sometimes I'll get it just the from message without any extra characters. And sometimes I have this character. And it was real long. I had a bunch of that email address was like sometimes 40, 30 characters long. And the only thing I needed was everything in between the brackets here. Those little lower than and greater than. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I seen the pattern. So I went ahead and said, hey, if the message, which was the from email, the sender, had this in there, that means, oh, I had to strip it. If not, just go here and you're fine. So I'm opening the keep file and the keep file for 30 days right here. This is where I'm opening it up. And the first one is, again, the blank. When it hits the blank, it deletes it, right? And I'm just appending here, and then down I'll delete. But so it's going in append, depending on what it is. It keeps it all in memory, and then you go ahead and delete it at the end. This is the one I keep. If it's in my keep, then continue. There's nothing to do. There's no delete or anything. It'll just... I got this commented out. If I don't comment it out, I don't need continue, but I don't need to see the print because it was only for debugging. So if it sees it, oh, it's in my keep, okay, do my counter here. See how I'm adding to the counter? It'll just do it automatically. So anyway, I continue, I go back up. This is the one for 30 days. If the sender's in my 30 days, cool. Now check, make sure that the email date is older than the end date. And if it is, delete. Boom. Other than that, just delete it. And then I close. You have to open and close because it keeps the position of where you're at. So you need to close it so you can start fresh. So you got to go ahead, open, check, close, open, close, open, close. Anyway. This is the print information, and this is where the counters come in with the total emails left, right, with the total emails right here, plus what was read. It gives you what's left. So this is the counter that I see all the time, and I got this printed out. That way, if I look at it, I can see where it's at, and I don't have to worry about, well, where we're at, how long is it going to take. It doesn't give me a time stamp. I'm not doing that. I'm just looking at if I got 4,000, it'll tell me how many got left, and that's it. And then I'm logging out. So I'm closing the text file, the delete text file, and I'm logging out. See, this is where you would uncomment that. It'll delete it based on the delete, which is here, delete. So it's appending, it'll grab them. Then over here, you grab it, and it'll say delete, here, delete, and it'll delete them, and then you log out. This is where I'm taking the deleted refile because it's not sorted. Then I'm sorting it. So it's lines, sorted, and then writing back to the original with the W. So this is a read. I'm reading. Then I'm W, right? and the sort, it'll truncate it, and then I'm writing right here, right? And what I had to write here, part, you know, if if it encountered a blank, you know, for some reason I had a blank. I don't know how I did that, but you know, like the program put it in there, so I continue. So in other words, if it hits a blank, blank. If not, write. So anyway, and then this is just the print at the end, and this is just a little extra coding that I put on there. This separates out all of the different, like the hour. If it's 1 hour, hours, more hours. If it's 1 minute, minute, month. It's just details. And what I hear, it just says, if it's just seconds, see, it's not equal to 0, then it's just seconds, right? Over here, if it's just minutes and seconds, and the variable will tell me up here, then give me, it ran for minutes and seconds. If it's hours, and I had some programs that run for hours, I use this on my production. I just put it on here. You can use that whenever. So let me give you an example. Here, this is it right here. This is you put this at the top. This is part of the program. You put this on the end. And what it does, it just, you know, and at the very end, it'll print it out. I mean, you can print this out to a text file if you want. You can add that. I just use it for visual. So when I come in there, I say, oh, okay, it ran for so many minutes. So, and then I'm gonna do another video for sending an email with some information on how to set that up. If you have any comments, let me know. Other than that, share it, and you have a good day. Bye.